Okay, 5:33. Okay, we'll start 5:33. So if your friends have not joined yet, ask them to join. If you are ready, we type good morning in the chat. Good morning. If you are ready. Nice. Okay, good morning. If your friends are not in yet, call them to join. We're going to start really soon. Okay. Okay, I see a few responses. Not enough, not enough. The other one. Nice morning. Mm, okay, great. I want to see more participants joining. Okay, 5:33. So we're going to start our MIT App Inventor workshop now, right? So if you are not familiar with MIT App Inventor, I'm going to run it through really quickly. What is MIT App Inventor? How you're going to use it, and then how you're going to apply in your upcoming uh prototyping stage for your idea that you just submit or you are going to submit today. So MIT App Inventor, it's a software for you to like create simple basic apps. There's going to be buttons, text, some interacting features you can add on, like timers and stuff. And then with this software, you can build really simple rapid prototype and then test this prototype out, or like present this prototype, see whether it works or not. And then this is the purpose of MIT App Inventor. So I want everyone to get ready. Before we start diving into the workshop, I want you to open MIT App Inventor on your laptop. Open, search it up. Okay, follow my lead, MIT App Inventor, and then click the first one, and then click on Create Apps. Okay, after Create Apps, log into your Gmail account, and then they will start a project for you. Okay, they will start a project for you. I want everyone to be on the same page. So later on when I explain, you guys can catch up. If you have any questions, feel free to just type in the chat. It can be private message or in the group general meeting chat. Any questions, please ask. And I want everyone to be on this page. We'll start 5:35 explaining this page. Okay, and then the second step you want to do is go to your App Store or Google Play Store, download MIT App Inventor 2 Companion. Okay, I'll type it in MIT App Inventor or MIT AI 2 Companion. Okay, these two, the one and any one of the names, you search it on App Store to download the app. Okay, to download the app. So you need two things. First one is your website open. Second one is your app downloaded. All right. If everyone is on the same page, we are going to start. If anyone has any questions, please ask. If not, I'll assume that everyone is ready, and then we'll start diving into the uh, components in MIT App Inventor. Is that okay? Right. I assume everyone is okay with it. Okay, we'll start with a few icebreakers just to get everyone ready, energized. We do some warm-ups. Okay, we do some warm-ups. Okay, first question of the day. I want everyone to type in the chat box. What is your favorite app and why? What is your favorite app and why? Okay, I will start first. I'll go with Instagram. I love texting my friends on Instagram. Okay, type your favorite app and why. Okay, it can be as simple as YouTube. I can watch videos. Type it in. I want your brain to warm up a bit before we start explaining the stuff in the workshop. Okay, let's get like 2 3 responses before we start. Anyone? What's your favorite app and why? No favorite app? YouTube, because yeah, you can watch Beta Squad. I assume that's like a YouTube channel. Nice, nice. You love YouTube because you can watch something on it. Any other responses? There's no right or wrong to these questions, by the way, guys. You guys can just type it in. It's just a warm up because I'm gonna take these answers and use it as examples later on. Okay. Okay. No answers in the chat box. Okay, never mind. We will just start. Okay. So first of all, when you enter the MIT App Inventor, you will see the screen like this. Okay, on the left side, I think you guys can see my cursor nice. You have palette where you have user interface, layout, media. Okay, if you want to let it show, you just click it once and then it will show whatever it is in the user interface. And then layout, media, drawing, animation. These are the stuff that you can add in your app later. Okay, we'll run through that later on, but let's get through the app first. And then on the right side, or on the middle screen, you can see your phone. Okay, here you can adjust your phone size. You want a tablet size, or monitor size, or a phone size. Okay, we'll start with a phone size as our examples today. And then you can choose which devices are you using. iOS 13 if you're designing on Apple phone, Android 5 Plus if you're doing on the Android phone. Okay, that's up to you which one you want to use. And whichever you feel comfortable about. Okay, you can use any. And then here you can see all components, which are going to be the stuffs in the app later on. Okay, we'll get to it later. And then on the right side, we have properties. Okay, so if you're on the website, you're in your project, and you've started a project, let's look a little bit about the properties here. So the first one we have here is align horizontal. Okay, horizontal means like a straight line. If you can look at my video, like a straight line like this, like my hand. Okay, so you can align it center, right, or left. Okay, what does it mean by align? Let's say I put center and I drag a button in. You see it will be in the center. Okay, but then back to screen. If I align it to the right, it will be on the right side of my screen. Okay, I hope that's clear. And then background color, I can choose any background color I want. But for now, I put it as default. Okay, default is white here. Okay, and then I can upload a background image. And then screen orientation is quite important. Depends on which app you're designing. Sometimes you want your app to be landscaped, or sometimes you want your app to be portrait. Portrait means the phone stand up straight. Okay, if you look at my phone, you can see this is portrait, this is landscape. Okay, so now unspecified means it's by default portrait. Sensor means when you tilt it, your phone, it's going to change the landscape itself. So this one, it's up to you as well. If you want your app to be portrait only, then you just keep it that way. Okay, some examples of app that is portrait are TikTok, Facebook, and other games. Some apps that are landscape is probably YouTube or some games you play. I don't know. Is Mobile Legends thing still a thing? Still a thing, right? Mobile Legends are landscape, and then Clash Royale is portrait. Right. That's just a quick example of which orientation you want to use later on. Scrollable means whether it's scrollable or not. So just now I put an example in it. I said Instagram. So Instagram needs to be scrollable, right? When you're at the main page, you're supposed to scroll everything. So you'll see every post of your friends on the app. So it's up to you if you want to put scrollable or not. Show status bar. Notice there's like a time, battery, Wi-Fi box on the top bar of your phone. Here, if you uncheck this, you cannot see it. If you check it, you can see it. So it depends on what app you're designing, but generally we just leave it on, okay? And then title, we can put any title we want. So for example, I'm going to put Girlscode MIT 1, right? So it changes the title here. But sometimes you're like, oh no, I don't want the title, doesn't look good. Then it's very easy. I just uncheck the title visible. So I cannot see anything on my app later on. Okay? So this is just a quick run through of what you will see in your MIT App Inventor. And then here, notice we have this thing. on the top bar here. We have designer and we have blocks. Okay, now I want everyone to click into blocks and then it will be a blank page. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with a software called Scratch. It's very similar. It's very similar. You drag and drop blocks. Okay, it's not hard. First one is control. We can see there are a few controls you can choose from. Wait, let me. Okay, there are a few controls you can choose from. If then else. I'm sure you guys seen the if else statement somewhere before this thing. Okay, logic, true, false. Math, you can do some simple operations. Text, you can put any text, list, dictionaries, colors, variables, procedures. Okay, these are some really simple examples. We are going to get to it later on. Okay, wait, let me zoom in so you guys can see. Wait. Okay, great. Now, back to designer. Back to designer. I'm going to go to the most important part now, because if you do not catch this, it will be very hard for you later on. Okay, it will be quite challenging for you later on, but it's fine for now. You can see the top bar here, there's a connect. Okay, so the connect here is for you to connect it to your app, to your phone. So you can see it on your phone while you're designing. So here we're going to click connect and then click AI companion. Then there will be a QR code showing up. All you have to do is scan the QR code with the MIT AI2 companion app. Okay, so I'm going to write down the procedure in it. Connect AI companion, scan it with. Okay, I'm going to leave this in the chat box just in case you don't know how to connect later. But if you face any problems, you can just ask anytime in the chat. Okay, so this is the basic that you need to know before we start going in the app designing. So we're just on setting up now. Okay. All right. If you are ready and you are set up, you can type done in the chat box. I just want to see a few done. Or if you have any questions, please ask. If you are done with the setup, please type done in the chat box and then we'll move on. Okay. Nice. I see one chat, two chats done. Okay, three done. Very good, very good. Okay, great. If there's any questions, please ask. But I'm gonna continue very soon. Okay, I'm gonna have breaks in the middle. So if there are questions in the middle, you can ask as well. But for now, I'm just gonna continue. All right. So first of all, we can see user interface. Okay, back to the user palette. Okay, user interface is how the user sees on the app, what the user sees on the app. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna adjust the horizontal align to left so you guys can see it clearer. Okay, so we have button. So button is anything that's clickable. So a very set up example for you to see what a button is when you click Instagram, you click the like button, that is a button. Okay, it is different with the label here. Label is just a text. Okay, you cannot click on the text. You can click on the button, but you cannot click on text. And then we have checkbox here. Checkbox is something for you to check, like a tick. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the I am not a robot. Then there'll be a checkbox. There's something like that. Or I have read the terms and agreement. That's a checkbox. Okay. Circular progress is to show that your progress is gonna load based on how much is loading. But for really simple prototyping, you generally wouldn't need it. Date picker is for you to choose a date. Image is for you to put an image in. Linear progress, which is similar as the circular progress. It's like a progress bar, but it's a linear progress. So where do you find linear progress in real life? It's probably on your YouTube videos. So if you click in one YouTube video, then there will be a linear progress bar down the video, right? So that's what it is. List picker is for you to choose from a list. So you want to click on a button says you want to check how many followers you have on Instagram. So you click on the followers, then there will be a list coming out. Okay, those are list picker, and you can choose from the list. Or when you're ordering food, you choose burger. You choose food, and then there will be a list says burger, fries, fish and chips, everything you want. Okay, list view is for you to list the view. Notifier. Okay, notifier here is a bit different than the other user interface because when you drop it in, you cannot see it. It will be down there, down here. Okay, non-visible components. Okay, non-visible components. Why? Because notifier is a function for you to let your app send a notification to your phone. Okay, so obviously you cannot see it on the app screen, but it is in your app. It's just down below, non-visible components. Okay, password text box and then text box. I'm going to explain these two at once. So text box is a box where you can type anything you want. So let's say you are filling in a Google form, they ask for your name, and you're typing in a text box. Password text box is different than text box because they will blind your text. Okay, so you type everything, you become the small dots. Simple. Time picker is where you pick a time. Web viewer is you want to access a website. All right, so that's it. That's all on user interface. Okay, so if you have any questions about user interface, please ask. If not, I will continue. Okay, any questions? Okay, now maybe the questions you have now is how do I delete these stuffs? It's quite confusing. It's very easy. You just select here. You just click on the all components on your right side, and then you just click delete. Okay, delete tab. Right. Okay. In the meantime, while I delete these components, can you please tell me if you understand or not? If you don't, please ask questions. If you understand, you type UI in the chat box. Okay, UI. I'm trying to make it as interactive as possible so you don't fall asleep. Those that are on their bed, I'm trying to be interactive. So if you understand or if you have tried it yourself, please type UI. Okay. As long as you understand, you can type UI as well if you're not doing it. Okay. As long as you understand. Okay, great. UI. Okay. Now after UI, I'm going to go to like 3 more on the palette side, and then the other I'll leave you to explore because those are some of the advanced function. And I would say it's not common functions that we would normally use in your designs. So now we have layouts. Okay, so layouts here are very important in designing, especially when you want to make your app looks really pretty. Because you notice that when you're using the components at UI, it's like a list, right? It's like a full-scale paper you write line to line. And then you generally don't want that in your design because it's gonna not look aesthetic as you expect it to be. So here are how you are going to make it nice. So first is horizontal arrangement. So as I just remind you guys again, horizontal means like a straight line. Okay, like a straight line. Uh, if you look at my hand, my video, this is horizontal, and then vertical is like a person standing up. Horizontal is a person lying down. Okay, so if I have horizontal arrangement in my layout, now when I drag 2 buttons, I can align it side by side. I can align it side by side. Okay, again, if you think that, oh, the background color is very ugly, you can just click on it, and then on the right side, you have properties. You can adjust the property. Which height do you want? Which width do you want? Or which color do you want? Okay. Right. Now I'm gonna delete the component here. So after horizontal, we have vertical. Okay, we have vertical. Vertical means I go from top to bottom. Okay. What's after vertical is table. Table, I can put like a 2x2 or like a 4x4. Depends on how many buttons I want. So that's for you to explore which one you want to use or which one suits better with your design. Generally, I'll advise use horizontal and vertical arrangement only because the table arrangement gets quite messy on where you put stuff. But it's totally up to you. It's not right or wrong on your design as long as it's easy for the user to use. and it's perfectly fine. Okay. So these are the layout, and then I'm going to go to media. Okay, so media, here if you want to use a few important or useful media is camera. Let's say your app wants to store pictures, you can use the app to take pictures. So why do we have a camera app in phone and you want a camera in your app? It depends, right? So sometimes Instagram lets you take pictures on Instagram instead of your camera app, and then you can post it on story directly. If you are doing something similar, go ahead and use the camera feature. Okay, it's gonna drag and drop. It's gonna be a non-visible component. Okay, so it's up to you. Let's say I want to build an app that records all my meals. Then I will have a built-in function which is camera. Then every time I open my app when I eat, take a picture of my food, and let's say that it counts the calorie for me. Okay, maybe. Okay, I'm just saying that's up to you. And then I file picker, image picker, player sound recorder, speech recognizer, text to speech. Okay, another very cool feature here is text to speech, because sometimes okay, let's say I'm designing an app that calls uh my younger brother. Let's say my younger brother is 2 years old. Okay, then maybe adding a text to speech feature is good because maybe he cannot read, right? He can only understand languages. So that's up to you which one you want to use media, and depends on what app you're trying to design. Okay, just to go to a few more, that's ball and canvas. Ball is a ball in the app, you can just bounce it around. That's up to you. I've never seen anyone actually use a ball in their prototype, especially when it's coming to solving problems. So it's up to you which one you want to use. Canvas is a place you can draw. So maybe your app includes drawing. Okay, that's gonna be maps, charts, data, sensors, and others. Okay, just a few more that you can explore on is the sensor. I'm just gonna go through it really quickly. And then if you think that, oh, maybe it's useful for your app, go ahead, okay? But there's gonna be a catch to sensors. I will explain later on. So a few easier ones is probably barcode scanner, clock, gyroscope. Okay, only these three I think is quite useful. The others I am not sure. Okay, barcode scanner is for you to scan barcode. Clock is for timer. Let's say you need a timer in your app, then you can add the clock feature in it. And then gyroscope is to see whether your phone is straight, like horizontal or vertically straight. Okay, the sensors that you want to consider is magnetic field sensor, orientation, or like thermometer. Why? Because yes, I can include the design in my app, but my phone doesn't necessarily have the sensors I want to use. Let's say you want to put a magnetic sensor in, but then your phone, the hardware itself doesn't have the sensor. Then it's not going to work as well. And then when you say you want to solve problem, I'm assuming that this app should be downloaded by every single user in this planet. And then if it's downloaded by every single user in this planet, but then their phones doesn't have those sensor, then the app will be useless. So this is just another factor you want to consider when you're looking at those sensors. Okay, so that's it about the palette part. And then I hope you guys can understand what is going on, what stuffs I can add in, what buttons I want, what designs I want. And then a quick reminder to you here is you can fact check whether your design works or not. If your design doesn't work, maybe it's time for you to redesign. If your design works, maybe you can start exploring how do I drag it and drop it in my app so I can start designing it. Okay, so if there's no questions, I will proceed to the next part, which is the blocks. I'll run you through the first example of the day, which is we want to try to use the designer and the blocks. We want them to work together. Okay. If there is question, please ask because I'm not gonna come back to this part again. If there's no question, I'm just going to continue. So the first app or the first project you want to do today is the classic Hello World Hello World app. Okay. So first, you want a button and then you want a label. Okay. This is the most important and most useful feature that you will find throughout your entire prototyping journey. Okay. I'm sure that you're going to use it like 10 times at least when you know this feature. Okay. So first one, I want something to click, right? I want something to click. So here on the property side, on the right side, if you can see my cursor, I can change the text to click me. Okay. So I put click me here. And then here I have a text for label one. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna repeat just in case some of you guys are confused. Label means text box. That's it. A text box that you cannot edit directly. Okay. So I will change the text for label into this is girls code workshop one. Okay. So I put this is girls code workshop one, and then I have a click me. So that's it for my app. That's the entire app that I want to design. Is everyone clear about this thing? Clear about my first design, first screen? So if you are done with the designer, now we can go to blocks. Okay, we can go to blocks. Here, I can see on the bottom left corner of blocks, I can see a button and a label. Okay, just now before I add them in, I only have control, logic, math, and whatsoever. So if you notice that you don't have it in your screen one, that's because you didn't add it in your designer. All you have to do is go back to the designer, drag a button, drag a label in. That's it. Okay, so we are going to click on it. We are going to see a few stuffs here. Okay, we are going to see a few stuffs here. And then we're going to drag this one. Okay, so first one, I want to get the when button one is clicked. Okay, there's a lot here, but the important thing you want to remember here is you want to see whether this rectangular is complete or not. If it's not complete like that, it's like a puzzle. If it's like a puzzle, you cannot start. Okay, it's not a starting or an ending. Okay, it needs to be like a complete rectangle. That's like a rule that you want to remember. So first, you want to drag this one when button one is clicked. Okay, what do you want to achieve when the button one is clicked? You want to change the label to something else, right? So I'm going to put label here. I'm going to click label, and then I want to put set label one, then set label one text, right? Because I want to change their text, obviously. So set label one text to, now I want a text here. Then I can go to my built-in, which is a text. I can get an empty text box to hello world. Okay, great. So that's it for the code here. And if I go back to designer, and then I connect it to my phone, you can connect it yourself. I'm not going to connect it for you here because I cannot show my phone screen. But if you do so, and then you click the button here, it's going to change this line of text into hello world. Okay, when it's clicked, it's going to be hello world. Okay, when you click, it's going to be hello world. Okay, if you are trying in front of a screen, tell me if you get it or not. If you don't get it, we are going to figure out which part that you got wrong. But if you get it, congratulations. Okay, this line of code should work. Okay, how it works here is I have a button, I have a label here. Now the blocks says that when the button is clicked, it will change the label into the text I want it to be. So I can edit this to be any text. Okay, I can edit this to be any text I want. Let's say I want it to be, my name is, okay. So you can change it anything. And then when you click the label, it's going to change. You click the button, it's going to change whatever that is in the label to the text you set it here. So I'm just going to run through a few examples of how you are going to use this feature. Let's say, for example, you want to have a button to click and remind you that you've done the work. Okay, so the click me here will be like done. Okay, and then the label here is do your homework, do your maths homework. Okay, do your maths homework. So this is how the app's gonna look like. The task here is to do your maths homework, and then you can click done to say that you're done. Okay, so the design is done already. Now we go to blocks. We say same thing, right? When button one is clicked, I want to change label one text to no more homework, right? No more homework. So now what happens is when we click connect and then we click done, it's going to change this label to no more homework. Okay, it's as simple as that. This is the first example of app that we are going to go through today. If you are done with the example and you understand how to use basic designer and blocks features, um, type homework in the chat, type homework in the chat, HW, or if you have any questions, please ask. Because again, I think the progress is gonna be really quick. After the simple features, I'm gonna dive into like some slightly deeper parts. We're gonna mess with variables and stuff. So if you don't understand, please ask. If you understand, type homework in the chat box. Okay. Homework. Print homework. Wow. Python. Okay. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have no questions, I'm going to continue. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to give you a prompt, and then you will have 5 minutes to think how you want the app to be or how you're going to design it. And then we are going to walk through together, and then we will see how it works. Okay. So I want to create an app where I input my name. Okay, I want to input my name. I want to type it in. Okay, and then the app will greet me. Okay, the app will greet me. I also want a little bit of design, little bit of designing. So I'll give everyone 5 minutes to think about it. We'll be back at 6:10. And then in the meantime, please think of what features you want to use, which UI you want to add in the app, or which layout you want to use, and then we'll go through it together. Okay. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please ask. But this is a process where I want all of you to start thinking yourself from what you learned just now, how you're gonna apply. Okay, how you're gonna apply. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm gonna answer the questions in the meantime. Okay. If there's no questions, that's great. Okay, I'm gonna type in the chat box of what I want in the app. Okay. Okay, I think the Zoom chat box can let you send pictures. So if you are done and you feel like sharing your app, you can drop it in the chat so everyone can see. Again, there's no right or wrong. As long as the app is working, that is a perfect app. Okay. We are not in a designing competition or something. It's just a workshop for you to understand how to build one. Okay. 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 I hope everyone is doing something, or at least if you're sitting on your bed, you're like thinking how to design an app to be like this. Okay. Great. So we are going to start checking it. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm not coming back to the first project. I'm gonna delete this. So we will start with what we want. So first we want a text box and a button that clicks submit, right? So the first thing I want is a text box. I'll drop one text box in. I'll drag another button in. Text box, button, and I want it to greet me, right? So if I want it to greet me, I need a text, and the text here is label. So these are all the ingredients I want. So think of it like making a cake or like cooking, you prepare all the ingredients you want, you arrange it together, and then you start putting it in the pan and cook. That will be in the block section. For now, we are in the designer section. Okay, so first of all, we want it to look um at least good looking, okay, or aesthetically pleasing, we would say. So first we want a horizontal arrangement. Why? Because if you think about it, a text box and the submit button looks like your WhatsApp text box, right? You type something and then you click send. The send button is always right beside the text box, or the YouTube search bar, just the text box beside that's a search button. So same thing, I want my name and the submit button to be in the same row. So this relates back to the UI designing principle, which we covered in the very, very first workshop last month. So if you remember, we said that whenever we are designing stuff, we want to design something that is um easy to use by user. So these are all the stuff that we want to keep in mind when we are designing as a developer here. Okay, so we have the horizontal arrangement in. We put the text box in and then the button in. So we will see that there will be a bar already. So this is our layout. We have a text box here, and then if you look at the right side, that's going to be appearance, right? That's a hint. What does hint mean is actually what you type in the text box, right? So if you put in hello, right? The text box here in your app is going to have a little gray text that says hello. Okay, so here my hint will be, please enter your name. Okay, please enter your name. So if you connect the app, right? If you connect your app, you can try it yourself. You will say, please enter your name here. And then text box, text for button one. So the first button here, obviously, is going to be submit. Submit. Okay. So very simple. Name, submit, and then text for label one. So what is going to be text in text for label one? Okay. So text for label one is welcome, or any text you want it to be. It can be any text. Okay. So now everything is in position. I want it to start working. I will go to the block section. So if you're following or you are doing on your laptop, you can go to the block section as well. So again, when button is clicked, right? Because when the submit is clicked, I want to go to the text box and I want to get the text box text. Okay, I want to get the text box text. But notice I cannot directly put it in. Why? Because there's no reason for you to put the text box text in, right? If you click a button, what do you want to do? Okay, think first, okay? When you click the button, you actually want the label to change, right? You want the label to change. So here you want to set the label text to something else. So you're going to drag this in. So when button one is clicked, you want to change label one text to a text, okay? You don't want to directly put this here. Why I don't want this to be happening? Because if this is what I do in my blocks, when I click button one, the label one text is going to be changed to text box text. What happens here is if I type my name here, I press submit, what the line of program is going to do is going to change the welcome to my name, which is not too accurate with the purpose of developing this app, correct? The purpose of us creating this app is to let the app greet us. So we want them to greet, okay? So we will have a text, okay? We will have a text. And then we want to join the text. Join text to, and then we'll create empty text here. So hello. And then we add a space. So what happens here is when the button is clicked, submit is clicked, I will get whatever text that have in the text box. And then I will combine it with hello. So what's going to happen here is it will display the welcome. It will change to hello and my name, right? So now if I change up a bit, I can change it to anything, right? I can change it to good morning and then put a comma. It's going to work the same if you run it in your app where you type your name, you submit, it's going to change to good morning, comma, and then your name. So that's it for this simple task. So I hope everyone understands what is going on here. And you can build something interactive with a text box, submit, and a welcome button. Okay. Now the app is done itself. The function stuff is done. I want to decorate it a bit. Okay. Because again, I said when we are designing, we need to think of the UI as well. Or if you are doing paper prototyping already, you probably have like a really pretty app drawn out, and then you're like, oh, let's make this happen. And then when you start using MIT App Inventor, you feel like, oh, everything is so scattered around. It doesn't look too pretty. So I'm gonna go in and design a little bit, and then you can see how it works here. Okay, so I have a horizontal arrangement here, and I want the horizontal arrangement to be across my phone, right? Like, okay, just think about WhatsApp, right? When you type in WhatsApp, the text bar in the bottom is going to be text box and then a send button. And think what if the WhatsApp doesn't covers like horizontally from one end to another end? It stops in the middle of somewhere. Then it will not look as aesthetically pleasing as you wanted it to be, right? Correct. So here I want to select the horizontal arrangement. I can just click in my all components. I want to click my width and I put fill parent. Fill parent means I want it to be from end to end. I want to fill everything out. Okay. If you don't want it to be everything, you can put a percentage as well. You can put 50% if you want it halfway, or you can put it 100% if you want it the whole way. Okay. But here I would recommend you to put fill because there will be nothing else to be considering. No matter how big your phone is, it's gonna fill everything up. Percentage as well. Pixels depends on some phones has different pixel counts. So that one really depends on what you're trying to design. But normally you just use percentage to make everything to make the ratio, because percentage is generally the ratio, and then no matter what phone you use, it's going to look as pretty as you design it on any phones, right? Okay, so now I want the text box here to be probably 80%. I want it to be 80%. And then the submit button, I want it to be 20%, right? Then I edit. Oh, then I see, oh, the submit is cut already. Then it's not that aesthetic or not that pretty. I put 60% or then this one, I put 40% or anything similar actually. Then you will see, okay, actually it's covered the text box and submit. It's from one end to another end. There's no like a cut-off point in the middle of nowhere. Okay, that's what we're trying to achieve every time we're designing an app. And then the best way to validate the design is to run it in your phone and then show it around with your friends. If the first reaction is, yeah, what is this? Then you know the design is bad. But if they ask like how to use, then probably the function is working well. Okay, another thing here is you can see the text and the button is not really aligned. Here, what we can do is we are aligned vertically, we put it center. Okay, then everything is aligned. Okay, all right, horizontal here also we can put it center, and then everything will be aligned. That's actually up to you how you want to align it, but generally we want it to be as straight as possible so it doesn't look ugly. And then the welcome text. Here, I can change my font to any font I want. Let's say I want sans serif. Okay, I don't want sans serif, I want monospace. That's up to you, okay, which font you want it to be. And then the font size, let's say 36. I want it to be bold, italic. That's up to you. Okay. And then left text alignment, where I want it to be aligned at, that's also depends on what you want to design or what app you're working towards to see. Okay, the general rule of thumb is you'll find the most similar app that you're trying to design. So just now we had earlier on we had a response saying that YouTube is their favorite app. So let's say you are designing something similar, you're designing something that posts pictures, people can interact with likes, there's progress bar, and there's comment sections, or there's a discussion place. Then you think about the similar app in the market. So let's say I want something with a comment section. Then as always, I can always refer to YouTube, see how they design, and then follow their designs. It's not really copying their ideas because it's just the design, and it would work well if it's an app that everyone is familiar with. Don't try to design something that's really weird because it's not going to be easy to use. Say for example, if I drag this submit button to the left side and then the welcome, I align it to the right side, right? It might look different, but it's not going to be as easy to use. So as a developer, that's what we want to keep in mind all the time. Okay, so that's done with our second app today. I hope everyone is on the same page. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have no questions, we are going to go on to the second app today. Okay. So for the second part, we are going to do a little bit of math. Okay. Math here will be quite important because a lot of apps that you have in mind might need a little bit of calculation. Say, for example, I want to add up my total calories for a day. Okay, so this is the next thing we're going to be working on. First one, I want to count how many clicks. Second one, I want to do simple operations. Okay, great. So I'm going to type it in the chat, your task two, and you will have some time to brainstorm. Okay, first one, I want to count my clicks. Button for user to click, count the click. Okay, this is the first feature I want. Second feature I want is I have three text box. Input my calories per meal. Add a text box for total calories. Okay, this is the second task I want. Both of these needs to be in my app. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to design it, because in this task, we are just going to work on the math operations, how you add up those calories, and then um, how you add every time when a button is clicked. Okay, this will be very important later on when you're developing your own app, because say, for example, it's not just calories, right? Let's say you want to do a recycle app. You want to add up all the cans that is recycled in each class. So 5A to 5D. Then you want to do some simple operations with your app to add up all the cans they have. Or you want to calculate percentage or something, then it will be useful for you to know these math operations. Okay, great. So I'll give you another like quick 5 minutes. I know like might not be enough time for you to like make the app out, but I just want you to think which button or which user interface you want to add in your app, and then which blocks you are trying to use. It's okay if you don't know, because it's getting advanced and more advanced. But I just want the thought process to be that you want to like start thinking, how do you want to do this? How do you want to do that? And then think back to the solution you have in mind, how you're going to make it out in real life. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes. We'll be back around 6:30-ish. I mean 9:30-ish. And then we'll decide, we'll look through the example together, and then we'll build one hopefully. Okay. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat, because I'm not coming back to the task one again. And I will answer the questions in the meantime while you're thinking. Okay, time's up. I think 5 minutes are over. And just to make sure everyone is on the same page, we are going to do some interactive activities. So for the first feature, I want a button for user to click and I want to counter click. Tell me two things that must be in my app. Okay, while I delete these components on my app, I want to see answers in the chat box. Okay, tell me two things. Tell me two things that I need to include in my app, whether it's a checkbox, text box. Tell me two things I need for the first feature. Anyone? There's no right or wrong answers. It can be anything. As long as it works, it works. Okay. When we are creating an app, a very important thing to keep in mind is there is no right or wrong. As long as it works, it's correct. Okay. So correct. Button, right? We're gonna add a button in. What else do we want to use if we want to count the click? What else do we want to use? And I have another answer. There's no right or wrong again. If you want to put a linear progress, it's fine as well. If you want to put a list view, it's fine as well. Okay. Anything, a switch, I don't know, text box, label, checkbox. Tell me in the chat. Okay. Which one do you want to add? There's no correct or wrong answer. Just type it in. Which one do you think we should add? Okay, now we have button. Now, obviously, we need to count out. We need to put something to record our count, right? So I would say the most suitable one here will be label to count how many clicks. Okay, so first one is text for button one. I want to change the text to click. And then text for label one. I want to put it as 0. Okay, so this is by default how the feature here is going to make. Okay, so the user is going to open the app and see a button here and a counter here. So every time I click, there should be adding 1 to the 0 here, correct? So now back to the blocks. Okay, back to the blocks. Which feature should I use? Okay, just now we had the same tutorial over button. We said that we want to click the button and when we click the button, we change the label. So the same thing is we want to click the button here. So we do when button is clicked. When button is clicked, now I want to change the label text to, I want to use math, okay? I want to use math and then I want to use plus. Okay, I want to use plus. So I want to take the text and then add 1. Okay, I want to add 1. Right. So this is a really simple code, simple program that you put. So I will explain it really quickly. When button 1 is clicked, I will set label 1 text. I will change the text to whatever it is on the text before I click the button, and then I add it by 1. So what happens here is every time I click, it will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to infinity. Okay, to whichever number is the maximum of MIT Inventor. Okay, now just to add on a few more interesting feature here, I can just modify the app a bit, right? So now I want a reset button. And then I also want a button that can add 5. I want a button that can add 1. I want a button that can add 5. Right? So here is the button to add 5. I'm going to change it to click times 5. And then I want a button here for reset. Okay, how am I going to do? Make all of this work here is, I want to go to blocks. So here we have button 2 and button 3, right? So when button 2 is clicked, here I can easily just copy and then paste. I want to set it to the same text, but here I want to make it plus 5. So every time button 2 is clicked, I add 5 on it instead of 1. So there will be 2 buttons here. One is click, and I'll add 1. Click, add 5, I'll add 5. Okay. And then now I want a reset button. So this is my reset button. When button 3 is clicked, I want to set it to, I want to reset. So I don't need this, right? I just need a math function here, which says 0. All right. So let me just quickly run through the program here. Button 1, I want to set the text to whatever the text before button 1 is clicked. I want to add 1. Button 2, I want to set label 1 to whatever the text is plus 5. And then when button 3 is clicked, I want to set it to 0. So the app, how the app would work here is when I click once, you will add 1. When I click once on plus 5, you will plus 5. If I click reset, it's going to go back to 0. Okay, cool. Everyone on the same page? If you are on the same page, type count in the chat. Type count in the chat if you understand what I'm explaining. It doesn't necessarily need to be you doing the app now, but if you understand what I'm explaining, type count. Okay, I will say this is also one of the important features that you are going to use in your app. I'm just going to give you a quick example here. A quick example here might be you want to record the attendance of how many people enters the hall. You create an app for it. So you're going to hold this app in front of the hall. And then when people enter the hall, you're just going to click, 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 click. And then click 5 if there's 5 people enter, and then reset every time you change the hall. Okay. Thanks for everyone that is responding in the chat. If there's any questions, please ask. Because also, again, I'm not coming back to this feature. I'm going to go to the next feature. Okay, so a really quick designing process here. Let me use the table arrangement for you to like make it clearer. I can put click 1 here, click 5 here, 0 here, and reset here. It's up to you how you want to design it. Again, there's no right or wrong in developing as long as you create an app that does all the function you want it to be, and it looks pretty or like it looks easy to use, then it's totally fine. Okay, there's no wrong design, there's no wrong idea. Okay, so this is my design for the feature. I click 1, click 5, the label here, and my reset button. Of course, you can decorate it, but I'm not going to do it here. We're going to save some time, and then we are going to go to the next feature. Okay, so the next feature is I want to have 3 text boxes to input my calories per meal, and then I want to add a text box to count my calories. I'm going to go through a bit quicker for this, just in case some of you all are like, oh, this is too easy, I'm done already. I'm going to speed up by a little bit. So here I added a table. Here I can, on the right side, I can adjust the columns. So how many meals I have, right? How many meals I have? I have 3 meals. And then I have 2 columns, but I have 3 meals, right? So here would be label 1, label 2, label 3. And then I'll have text box, right? Text box 1, text box 2, text box 3. Okay, so label 1, it says label 2 here, but it's like label 1 because the first function we are ignoring it. So we say breakfast. Label 3, we put lunch. Label 4, we can put dinner, right? And then the hint for text box here will be calories. Calories, calories, calories. Okay, so if you run through the app, you will see that there will be a hint on the text box saying calories here. Calories, calories, calories. Okay, so the basic feature here is to make you input everything you want. Okay, input everything you want. And then you want to have a label here that says total calorie is, right? So I want to have like a short, simple horizontal arrangement. Total calorie is something, something, right? Check it here. Total calories consumed. And then I'll put 0 for now, right? So what would happen here is I can input my calories for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then of course I need a button to calculate everything, right? So I need a button to calculate, okay? Calculate calories. So I'm going to put calculate as the button here. Okay, so I hope everyone is on the same page or at least understand what I am doing now for this example. If you are clear of what we are on now and you know what to do, that's great. If you don't, please ask question because now I'm going to go to the blocks part. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the blocks part. Great. So the easy way to think of it is now there's only one action the user can do, right? Which is clicking calculate, apart from keying in all the numbers in the text box. So here, I want to go to, I want to drag a button here. So this is my button. Again, when button 4 is clicked, what I want to do is I want to change the label. So here it's a bit tricky here. Notice that it's quite confusing if you put a lot of button label here. Actually, what you can do here is you can choose, like let's say I want a 0, and I can rename it to calories. Okay, I can rename it to calorie. Now it's clear for me. Now it's clear for me, okay? So I'll go back to blocks. I want to change calories. I want to change the text to, okay, I want to change the text to whatever that is in text box 1, text box 2, and text box 3. So here I can use the math, right? And then I can put this summation. Okay, I can do addition here, right? Okay, how you want to add more values here is you click the settings here. So just in case you got to the math part and you're confused, oh, why I can only add A and B, I cannot add A, B, and C. So here you go to settings and then you just add in the numbers you want. Okay, cool, everyone. If that's okay, then it's great. And then what we're going to do is we have text box, and then we get the text. Okay, we get the text, or we can put numbers only. Okay, it's up to you. Let's say you're afraid that the user is going to key in numbers and text together. You can put numbers only, but here we're just going to use text as an example. And then again, we can paste to, and then we put it in. Put it in. Okay. And then here I change it to text box 2. Here I change it to text box 3. Okay, I think it's quite clear for everyone. So what happens here is when button 4 is clicked, I want to set the calories text to the addition of text box 1, text box 2, and text box 3. Every time I click calculate, it's going to add 3 of them out and display it here. Okay, is everyone clear what we are doing? But okay, here comes the catch, right? What if the user didn't put anything in the text box and then I add up? It will not be adding it well because the user is not putting anything in text box, right? So now I want to remind the user if they forgot to key in something in the text box. How would I do? Okay. Here I want a label. I click it as I change it to reminder. Okay, reminder. Okay. So now I can add if else statement. If else statement, right? Okay. Why if? If the text box here, the text box here is empty, right? If the text box here is empty, it's empty, right? That means that the user didn't put anything in the text box. Now I need to remind the user to put something in the text box, right? So I can set the label 6. Label 6 is the reminder just now. I can set the text to something that I want to remind the user. Please input calorie for breakfast. Okay, is that clear? So what happens here is every time when button 4 is clicked, okay, every time when button 4 is clicked, every time when calculate is clicked, if there is nothing in the breakfast, the reminder here will pop up. Please input calories for breakfast. Now I can also get a few more, get 2 more. Now I change. Okay, so this one, let's say I put it text box 2, I can change the text here to lunch, right? Lunch. Here is text box 3, and I put it for dinner. Okay, great. So now this will be a simple code for me to add up all the calories I consume in a day. And just in case if the user forgot to input something, then I will know, okay, which one is incorrect. Right? Okay, so this is the calories project, or a basic summation practice that you can apply. So if you have any questions, please ask. And if you don't have any questions, you can type calculate in the chat box. It means that you know how to calculate already. Here, I'm going to run through a few more math module, the math features that you can add. Just so if you are going to apply in your app development later on, you know what to use. Okay, so here are the simple one. You have addition, minus, multiplication, divide, right? And then random integer from 1 to 100, or you can set it yourself, means it's going to generate random numbers. I'm not too sure whether which examples you are going to, which situation you are going to use this feature, but it's a good feature to have. And then average, mode of a list, square root, absolute, negative, round, ceiling, floor. So this is the stuff that you kind of learn in your math. So modulo is like you take the remainder, that's sine, cos, tangent, right? Radians to degree. I'm not sure if you guys are from 5 people. You might learn how to convert radians to degrees. Format decimal number, how many places. Okay, so these are all the math features that you have here. And then if you think that you don't have enough, you want to have some really complicated formulas, you can always look up on Google. Sometimes they have extensions to these modules, so you can add it into your MIT App Inventor, so you can run it. Say for example, you want to convert you want to have a function to convert degrees to Fahrenheit, but you are too lazy to figure out the formula. You can just add a function. You can get it on Google. You just search it up and then you add it as an extension. Okay. So that's it for the part about uh the math feature. So if you have any questions, do ask. If you don't, we will take a break now. It's going to be like a 15 minutes break. We will be back around we'll be back around 10:05. Is that okay? 10, actually around 10, okay? Let's get ready around 10. Okay, we'll be back around 10. So we have a break now. You can go grab water, or you can try it out the features yourself. I'm gonna leave it here. And then you can just explore the MIT App Inventor yourself, which is what I would recommend you to do. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask. It can be any questions. Let's say you want to ask how to use the list picker, right? Just ask, and then I'll explain it later on. If you don't have any questions, you can grab water, you can rest. We'll be back later. Okay. Hey, hello. I hope everyone is done with their water break, got the toilet, got some food, right? I hope everyone's doing well. Okay. So if you are um ready, we are going to move on to the next task. We are going to build like a little mini functional app that we can use and apply. Okay. So the app would be a quiz app. Okay, a quiz app. I'm going to write down all the features that we want, and then we are going to brainstorm and build it together. Okay. So the first feature I want is to put in my name and class. Okay. The second feature I want is to have two questions. Two questions. The first question being are you happy? Second question is why? Okay. The third feature I want to have is to check whether I got the answer correct or not. Actually, are you happy and is it sunny? Okay, is it a sunny day? Okay, so the third feature I want to is to check my answers. I want to check whether it's correct or not. Okay, I want to check whether it's correct or not. And then to have a total points. Okay, total points. So this is the four features I want in my app. Okay, the four features I want in my app. Okay. Just so you know, I think this app is not going to be easy. It's a little bit of thinking. So in the meantime, I want everyone to think how to make this thing work, and then we are going to work and work it out together. Okay. So I'm not going to give you time to think anymore because we just came back from water break. I'm just gonna start working through the app, and if you have any questions, please just ask in the chat. Okay. But in the meantime, you can just like think which one you want, which idea you have, okay? And then you can contribute by just typing in the chat or like giving me suggestions or whatnot. Okay, so first we are going to know that, okay, since there's four features, we are going to divide the screen by four sections, correct? The first one is name and class. Okay, name and class. So what we're gonna have here is we are going to have a label or a text box that says to put our name. So this is our name. And then we need a send button for our name. And then we want to have a list picker for our class. And then we need to have a label for our class and our name. So this is the first part we are going to work on, right? So here we are going to put some layouts, right? First layouts we are going to put is horizontal layout. So I can put my name in. I can put my name in. Second is I can put my class in. And the third one is going to display my class and name. So here I'm going to add another table arrangement to put my class and name. Okay, while I'm adding it, try to think, why am I adding these labels in? What is the purpose of me adding this? How am I going to use it later on? Okay, so here, the text box is for my name, and then the text for button one should be estimate, right? And then actually I'll put enter so it's clearer. And then the class would be class. Okay, here I will have a label or a text space for me to record my name in my class. Okay, so now I'll put a dash mark to say it's nothing. Plus I'll put a dash mark to put as nothing as well. Okay, so this is the simple setup for my first feature. Okay, so to decorate it like slightly a bit more good looking, I'm gonna put all of this together in this thing. In the classroom. Yeah. Going to be shipped. Okay, great. So I will have a label. I'm going to fill it out to um to cover my first feature. Okay. If you guys are understanding what I'm doing now, that would be really great. If you're not, please ask any questions that you have. Okay, here I'm going to organize it a little bit more. Actually, it's fine. I'm just gonna let it be whatever it is looking like now. If you are working together with me, you can try it out and see if it works. And if you are not, you can just follow through. Okay. So now we are going to design the first feature. We are going to go to the blocks. Okay, before we go to the blocks, we need to um, recognize a few things. First one is the enter button, right? The enter button, I shall rename it to a name. And then the class button is a list picker one. So I shall rename it to class. Okay, but okay, the classroom. Because class might be confusing. Okay, and then we need to always keep in mind that this is a list picker, it's not a button. Okay, why so? Later we are going to explain it in our examples. Now we have a text box that's display our name, display name, and then we will have a label will display class. Okay, great. So we have assigned them some simple name tags that will ease our work. But also here name tags, there's nothing really important. You can just put it as anything as long as you are comfortable with working with it. Okay. Now let's get to the place. Now we have a button for name. So simple. When name is clicked, I want to change the display to, I want to set display name text to whatever I have in the text box, right? A text box, text here. Okay, so when name is clicked and the enter is clicked, I'm going to set this to whatever I type in my text box. Okay, this line of code I have explained it in our task tool, so I'll expect you guys to understand. Second is classroom. So now it will be a bit tricky here because we are using a list picker. So what is a list picker that is different with a button? List picker is when I click on it, I will have a list showing up. But obviously, I'm not letting the students key in their class because probably there's only 4 class, 5A to 5D. Okay, so when the list picker is clicked or before picking, okay, when the list picker before picking, I want to make a list. I want to make a list, okay? Before that, I want to set the elements to, I want to set all the stuffs in the list picker to, I want to make a list, right? So I'll make a list here, and then I'll put text, okay? So this example, I'm just going to put C classes. So here, if I want to add as many classes, I just need to drag and drop, okay? I just need to drag and drop, and done, okay? So here I want to put 5A, here is 5B, here is 5C. So I have 3 classes here before list picker is picking. What does that mean by before picking is before you click into it, I want the list picker to have 3 classes already inside whatever element that is in the list, right? So before I click, that should be 5A, 5B, 5C ready. Okay, so what happens after picking here? So now I click in and then list picker is after picking. I'll drag and drop here. Okay, now after picking means I selected already. Now I want to change the display class. Same thing, I want to change the text. So I want to change whatever it is selected in the list picker, right? So I click here and then I will go to selections, list picker, selection, classroom, selection. Okay, so what it does here before and after picking, before I want to create a list, I want to make that list that says, oh, I have 5A, 5B, and 5C. Okay, and then second is I want to do after picking, I want to change the class display into whatever I selected. So let's say I selected 5B. So after I select, it will change the text or the label into the classroom I selected. So it's going to display as 5B. Okay, so this is feature 1, it's done. So just in case you are curious, where can I use this list picker? Easy, when you're choosing a month, that's only January to December. You don't need the user to type it out January. It's going to be tiring and time consuming. Or you are letting them selecting options. So which color of balloons you want to buy, want to sell. So it's going to be red or blue. Which food you're ordering, fish and chip or chicken chop. Okay, right? So those are the little parts that you can apply on this picker in, and then it saves out a lot of time by not letting the user type in. Okay, so that's how the feature one would work. If you understand if you understand feature one and you can do it, or you understand how it works, type one in the chat. Type one in the chat before I move on to the next one. Before I move on to the next one. Okay. Great, great. I hope everyone is done with one. Okay, now we are going to work on the second feature. The second feature, we are going to have two questions. And then first question is, are you happy? And the second question is it sunny? Right? Okay, so easy. I'm going to put label one as question one, label two as question two. Okay, so in the label one, I'm going to type, are you happy? Second one, I'm going to type, is it sunny? Okay, so here is going to give me two answers, right? Are you happy? It's either yes or no. Is it sunny? Yes or no. Okay, so text button one would be yes. No. Yes. And this is no. Okay, great. So you're done with the question and the answer. Great. So we are going to design it a bit. We are going to design it a bit. Here we are going to use some vertical arrangement, a horizontal arrangement. Why? Because we want the yes and no to be in the same row, so it looks better, or we save a lot of space. Okay, great. So the user here can click yes and no, right? And then now I want to move on to the third feature, which is to check my answer. Are you happy today? My answer is yes. Okay, my answer is yes. Or I would say the correct answer I want is yes. Okay, that depends on you, whichever part you want to apply in your app. So it depends on what questions you want to put. You can change it however you want. So in this example, we are going to use yes. And then is it sunny? My answer should be no. Um, it's up to you actually. If you want to put it yes, it's also can. But for this example, in this case, we are going to use no. Okay, now we are going to have my answer, my button here. It says submit. Submit. Okay, so after I click submit, I need to show um whether it's correct or not. Okay, so here I want to put label here, and then another label here. I'll label it as unknown first. I'll also label it as unknown first, right? So after I click submit, what I want the unknown to do is I want to check whether my answer is correct or not. Okay, so are you happy here? I'm going to add another label here. Answer. And then, so I'm going to add another label here. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm going to delete the first function, the first feature, because it's blocking a lot. And then I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with it already. So I'm just going to delete it. So the first question is, are you happy? And then answer blank, yes, no, and then unknown. Is it sunny? Answer blank, yes, no, and then unknown, and then submit. Okay, what I want to do here is when I'm asked, are you happy? I can choose yes or no. The correct answer should be yes, but let's say I choose yes. I want to change the answer here to yes. I want to change the text here to yes. And then the unknown remains as unknown. Is it sunny? Let's say I click no. I want to change the answer here to no. And then it remains as unknown. And then once I click submit, it's going to check my answer and tell me whether it's correct or wrong. Okay, it's correct or wrong. Okay, that's my third feature. Fourth feature, we're going to talk about points, like total points later on. But for now, we are not going to do it yet. Okay, we're not going to do it yet. Right, okay. So what we are going to do here is we are going to go to the blocks and list down our correct answer, right? So first one is yes, second one is no, which is button 1, button 2, button 3, and button 4. So the correct answer for my first question, are you happy, should be no. Then my button 1, when button 1 is click, I want to change the text. Right? Let's go back. I want to change the answer text label 7 to yes. Okay, I want to change label 7 to yes. Label 7 text to text. Yes. Right. So this is a very quick example. I'm gonna copy paste. So now when button 2 is clicked, I want to change it to no. Okay. And then same thing goes here. When button 3 is clicked, I want to change label 8 text to yes. When button 4 is clicked, I want to change label 8 text to no. Okay, so here I'm going to check this one button. I'm going to check whether label 7 is correct, label 8 is correct. We need to make sure that the naming here is accurate, or we can just rename it every time to make sure that we don't change the wrong label. Let's say we click yes and then the label change is are you happy? Then you will defeat the purpose of us creating this function. Okay, so this is a very quick go through on how it would work here. So now I click yes, the answer would change to yes, and then is it sunny? It will change to no or yes. Okay, now I need to click submit. Okay, and then I'll need to check my answer. So until then, my feature 2 is done already, correct? Until then, my feature 2 is done already. I can submit my answer for those 2 questions, and I have 2 questions listed out. If you have any questions, please ask. If you are clear with what we are doing with feature 2, type 2 in the chat box. Type 2 in the chat box. 2, nice, okay. Anyone that doesn't understand, I can re-explain again because I feel like this is quite important. Okay, cool. Everyone is on the same plane. If you have any questions, please ask in the meantime while I explain how you are going to do feature 3. Okay? How you're going to do feature 3 is you want to check the answer. So here we know that this is button 5. Okay, here I'm just giving an example. You can rename it submit so you don't get confused back here. Now you're going to do submit. When submit is clicked, what happens if you want to check label 7 and label at 8, right? So it is going to be a if else statement. So if and else. So if and then you are going to put the logic here because you are going to see whether it is equal to or not. So if the text is label 7 text is equals to yes, then set the unknown. We want to set this unknown, which is label 5. Correct. Okay. We want to set it to correct. Is it clear? So what happens here is when I click submit, it will check if my label 7 text is yes. If not, if it's yes, it will change the text to correct. Now, if not, what will happen here is we need to add an else. Okay, else means if not or else, right? If it is, then we do this. If it is not, we do what? Okay, now if it is not, okay, means we got the correct answer, right? If it's not, it's a wrong answer. Wrong answer. Right. Okay. Okay. So if it's not, it will tell me that it's wrong answer and then I will need to try again. Okay. That helps me check my question 1. If everyone is on the same same progress, we will have the same program here. Now I'll just need to copy and paste another one where we will check the label for second question. The label for second question is label 6. So the answer is no, right? We want to change label 6. And if label 6 says no, we will change label. Which label? Again, we need to check here. Sorry. If labels 8 is no, then label 6 will display the answer. So now this one will be label 8. 6. Right, label 6 here. Label 6. Okay, so this is how we check the correct answers. Is everyone clear on how we use if else statement and the logic here? Okay, I hope everyone is clear. I'll give like a 3 minutes to read the program or try it out yourself. Actually, I'll give 5 minutes for you to try it out yourself. If you can, it will be great. But if you cannot, please ask any question. Okay, please ask or please tell if you cannot. Then we'll move together. Okay, but before that, let me just explain a thing that you might be it might be confusing to you when you just started out. Okay, notice that in logic there's an equal sign, and then in math there's also an equal sign. So what's the difference between math equal sign and logic equal signs? Equal sign. Okay, so just to explain it really quickly, logic equal sign means a statement is equal to another statement. Means I can say that red equals to orange. I can use this equal sign. Okay, I can use this equal sign, and then I can put red equals to orange, or red doesn't equals to orange. This is logic. It can be true or not true, equal or not equal. For math, I want to use it for numbers. Okay, it only works for number. Is 5 is equals to 5. Is 5 is not equal to 5. Okay, this is where we use the math equals here. Okay, for the same thing, you cannot use the math equals for your logic equals because it doesn't work. Let's say, okay, I'm just giving examples. You can drag a math here, and then you can put this one, and you add any numbers. It will work for the math equal, but if you change the equal to like a green box, which is a logic box, it will not work. Okay, so this is just a reminder on what you are using or what you are supposed to use, the difference between the logic and math. Okay, great. I hope everyone is following well. If you are following well, type 3. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you like 3 minutes to read through or like to try it yourself because I feel like this is really important, or you can just take a screenshot. Okay, I feel like this is really important. As this if else statement, you are definitely 100% going to use in any apps that you create later. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions, please ask. If you do not have any questions, I encourage you to try this out yourself so you understand the if and else statement in our MIT App Inventor. Okay. Okay, I hope everyone is done with 3, the third one. Now we are going to look at our fourth feature in the question. Okay, the fourth feature is I want to calculate all the points. I want to total up all the points. Okay, I want to total up all the points. So how do I total up the points? Here, I want to introduce a concept which is a little bit advanced and I would say quite hard, which is called variable. Okay, which is called variable. Okay, what variable means is something that changes number over time. So in your math class, you probably asked your teacher before, or ask your friends, or ask your parents before, why are we learning X and Y? Why can't we just solve equations, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all thought about the same thing before. It's because the concept of variables is very important in our life, or I would say it's very important when we are trying to um program something, when we're trying to code something, right? Because the variable is the something that changes when I do some actions. So let's say, for example, I want to create a variable now. A variable means something that I can change. Okay, something I can change, or something I can modify, or something I can save the value as. Okay, so now we are going to start with initialize global. So we drag this out, means we set a variable to score. Okay, we want a score to keep track or keep adding. Okay, or keep adding. Okay, what we are going to do here is we are going to do math, and then we are going to put the score to 0. Okay, to 0. So now we know that the variable, which is our score, is 0. So what happens, or what I want to do here is every time it is correct, I want to add 1 to my variable, my score. Okay, so this is my X. So at the very first of the code, very first of the line of the code, I said X equals to 0. X is my score, or S equals to 0. Whichever that you are more comfortable with using. Okay, so I can change the variable name to any names that we want. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to set the score. Okay, we drag it and then we'll put it here. So if it is correct, I want to set the global score into, I want to use a math operation, which is the plus operation. And then I want to get, and then I want to add 1. Okay, what this does here is, okay, first of all, I set X equals to 0, right? So every time when it is correct, when I have a correct answer, I will set, or I will adjust the variable, which is a 0 plus 1. So whatever I have, so let's say I have a 5 now, and it's correct, I'll plus 1 on top of it. Okay, so this is where we apply variable. Variable is something that varies, that changes. Okay, so I hope everyone understands the concept of variable here, because I would say that it's quite tricky and quite hard to do. So get global score, set global score to get global score plus 1. So I will set X equals to X plus 1. Okay, X equals to X plus 1. So we will also copy it and put it here under the correct answer. So every time I get a correct answer, I will plus 1 to my global score. Okay, I will plus 1 to my global score. Right. Now I want to display my score, right? I want to display my score. I'll put a label here and I'll put your score is, okay? Your score is, and another label here is a dash. Okay, so I remember that label 10 is dash, which is the thing that I want to change. So when something is clicked, I want to change label 10. I want to change label 10 to, and then I want to get the variable global score. Okay, so let me explain this code, this program line by line. So first of all, I set X equals to 0. And then every time I wrote something correct, I will add 1 to my variable, which is 0. I'll add 1. So let's say first question is correct. I'll add 1 to it. It's 1 now. And then check second question. Second question is correct. I'll add another 1. So it's 2 now. Okay, after everything is added up, I want to set my label 10, which is my score, to whatever the variable is. So let's say I have 10 questions and I get like eight correct. So 8 correct means I'll add 1 for 8 times to my variable. So I have +1, +1, +1, +1 until 8. And then after that, I'll display the score of 8 on my label 10. Okay, so that's how variable works here. This is quite complicated or confusing, I will say, for starters. But then along the way, you are going to get better of understanding how you create these scores, how to create these variables. Okay, so here I have the whole working quiz app for feature 1 to feature 4. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's quite simple until now and you are on the same page. If you understand, please type 1, 2, 3, 4 in the group. Means you understand everything. Or if you understand 1, 2, 3 only, type 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 3, 4, type 1, 3, 4. Okay. If you have any questions, please ask, please ask. Okay. I will be really happy to explain it to you because again, I will not be going back to this feature anymore. Okay. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I love how everyone is on the same page already. Okay. Now we'll move on to our last app of the day. Okay, we will move on to the last app of the day. What I delete is, I want you to brainstorm. Okay, I want you to think about an app that can record all the birthdays of my friend. Okay, an app that can record all the birthday of my friends. And how I want to create that. So this is going to be the last app that we are going to go through today. And then I hope that you will be familiar enough with MIT App Inventor. So I'll give everyone around 5 minutes to think. I'll type the prompt in the chat box. So an app that records friends' birthdays. Okay, so the first feature is put in the name. Second, I want it to be put in the date. And then third one, I want to cite gifts. Okay, so what type of gifts you want to give your friends? Of course, you need to have a save button. Of course, you need to have a place to record everything after you key in. Okay. So the tricky part here that I want you to think about is, let's say I have an empty space of 3 that I have a list that I can put 3 names in. How do I know that when I'm going to add in label 1 or label 2 or label 3? Because obviously I'm going to fill it up in label 1 first. And if label 1 is full, I'm going to fill it up in label 2. And if label 3 is full, label 2 is full, I'm going to fill it on label 3, right? So that's a tricky part that I want you to take note of when you're creating this app. And then later on, we are going to use the variable with some logics to work that out. But in the meantime, please think about how can you do that. Okay, I'll give you another like 3 minutes. Please do think about Okay, great. I hope everyone have something in mind already, or at least some rough ideas. Okay, so without further ado, let me just dive in really quickly on how you can make it happen. So first one, I want to have a section for me to key in my birthdays, right? So the name, and then my date picker, and then my gifts. So gifts is optional. I'm just going to put a text box here so you can have gifts. So I'm gonna change the text here to birthday. And also I'm gonna have a button here to click save. Okay. To click save. Okay. So what is going to be doing here is I'm gonna have a place to type in my name, my birthday, and have a note of the gift I want to uh, give it to my friend. So first I want to put the name here to name, in here to gift. Okay, great. So I think for now everything should be fine, right? Everything should be fine. Then we will go work on blocks. Okay, but before that, we need to have space to record the friend's detail, right? So first one, I'm not gonna put buttons here. Delete, delete it. So I'm gonna have three text box, three labels. Label one, label two, label three, label four, label five, label six, label seven, label eight. Okay, why do I need to have so much label? I'm gonna give you like a quick run through now. So text for label one, I want to record. Okay, because obviously I don't want the app to only record one friend only. I want to record multiple friends. So for the example, I will create an app that can record two friends. And if you want more friends, you can just copy paste later on. Okay, so friend one. And then label two, friend two. Okay, so here I'm going to put name, birthday, and then gift. Here it goes the same. Name, birthday, and then gift. Okay. So this is my setup for now. Okay. And then here I'm going to the blocks. Here I want a global variable. Why? Because the first time I click save, I want to save it in friend one. The second one time I've clicked save, I want to check whether friend one is saved already or not. If it is, then I want to save it as friend two. Okay, so I want to set the variable to friend two. I'm going to use a logic here because it's whether it's filled in or not filled in. So I'm gonna just use whatever false or true. Both works, okay? Because false and true basically just means 0 or 1. Okay, so that's up to you whether which one you want to assign it to. Okay, so first one is when save is clicked, which is when button one is clicked. When button one is clicked, what I want to do here is to change the text box 2, 3, 4. I mean the label 2, 3, 4 into whatever I input, right? Whatever I input. So here has a date picker. Date picker basically we don't really need to don't really need to what do you say? Don't really need to configure because it's there already, right? So we want to change label to text. Set label to text to. I want to see whatever it is in text box. So I'll get the text here. Like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna copy 2 times for label 3 and label 4. Okay. So label 4, I can just use another text box. But here label 3, I want to, it's tricky a bit because I want their date and their month. The year, it's up to you. Of course, I'm gonna take the month and I'm gonna take the date. Okay. The day, I mean. So that is day. Okay, so here I'm going to use a text And then I'm going to join the text together. Which day in which month? Right. So it's going to work, right? Now, when I click button 1, which is save, when I click save, it's going to change name, birthday, gift of my friend 1 into whatever I input. Now, when the second time I click save, what I'm going to realize here is it's going to change friend 1 as well. It's never going to change friend 2, right? Which is not the case we want. Okay. So now we need to set a global variable here, okay, which is false. So here we want to check whether this name is edited or not. Okay, so we want if else statement. Okay, if else statement. Okay, here when screen is initialized means when the screen is open. When the screen is open, I just want to constantly checking. I'll constantly checking whether the label text is something else. So here I'm going to use logic. And then I want to check this label. Text2. I want to check whether the text is name or not. If the text is name, means what? If the text is name, means the save button is never clicked before, right? Means the save button is never clicked before. If that's the case, I want to set the variable to false. Okay, I want to set it to false. But if it is not, name, let's say I input something before. Let's say I put John. So now the label text, label 1 text is not name, but it is John. Means I need to change my variable into something else. I need to change my global variable into 2, right? So I'll explain the program again. So first of all, we set the variable into false. And then when I open the screen, it will constantly check label 1. It will constantly check. Actually, it's label 2. Okay, sorry. So here is very important. You need to always check the correct label you're doing. Okay, so when the screen is open, the app will constantly check whether label 2 is name or not. If it is name, I will keep setting my global variable, my variable into false. But if it's not name, means it is something else, then I will change it into true. Okay. Now I will have another if else statement here saying that I want to check this thing. Okay, I want to check the variable. So now it's equal if the variable is false here. If the variable is false, means that it's never filled in before, right? Then I want to set label 2, label 3, label 4 this way. Else, I want to set it, copy again. Else, if it is not, it is filled up already, I want to fill not label 2, label 3, label 4 already. I want instead it's 6, 7, 8. So now if it is filled, I want to it is filled. I want to put my input into label 6, label 7, and label 8. Okay, let me just explain one more time so you guys will have a clearer picture. Okay, so see like this. First of all, okay, one last time I'm gonna say this. I want to set a variable. I want to say that, oh, okay, so there's this thing that can change. Think of it as a coin. Okay, there's 2 sides of coin. Okay, side A and side B. So first of all, I'm gonna by default put the coin on side A. Okay, so when I open the app, when screen 1 initialize, I want to check whether label 2 is name or not. If label 2 is name, I want to keep the coin on side A, which means I want to set the variable false. If my label 2 is not name, now I want to flip the coin on side B. Okay, so that's the coin example. And then we go to the button. Okay, we go to the button where we say that if there is when button 1 is clicked, I will set the global I'll set the global friend to if the global friend is false. Now, when the button is clicked, I want to check if the coin has side A on top, I will change label 2, label 3, label 4 text. Now, if not, means the coin is side B on top, I'll change label 6, label 7, label 8. Okay, so think this variable as a indicator or as a thing that we look out for when we are trying to um, input or do some actions. Okay, so this is an example of how we use this variable into this birthday app, birthday recorder app. Okay, I'm not going to design this app again. So this is just a quick run through how we are going to fill up list. Okay, it works the same in other ways as well if you want to use the variable like that. It depends on you, but this is just a quick example of how you want to use it when you're filling up list and you don't want to keep filling up the first line. You want first line, and then you want to check whether first line is filled. You go second line and third line and fourth line and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's just a quick example of how the variables can be used, and I'm pretty sure I've covered at least 80% of what you need to use in MIT App Inventor. The other remaining parts like slider, spinner, progress bar, I'm not going to cover them because I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't use it in your designing process or prototyping process. This is more than enough for you to create a working functional app already. So I hope everyone understands the last example I gave today, right? The last example I gave. If you are clear on how this thing works, type birthday in the chat. Type birthday in the chat if you are clear of how this thing works. If you're not, please ask question. Birthday, nice, nice. Okay, great. Looks like everyone is following well. Okay, so I think that's all for the workshop today. We will have another 5 minutes of Q&A, 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A. If you have any questions, please ask. Anything regarding the workshop, about Girlscode, about your submission, you can just ask in the chat now. I'll try to answer it. If it's not related to what I know, then you have to ask in the Telegram. So I'll open the session now to Q&A or any general questions you want to ask about MIT App Inventor 2. Actually, any questions you want to ask. Yeah, Q&A. If you have no questions, thank you for joining. And I hope you get into the next stage for Girlscode. Yeah, that's it. Good luck and all the best. If you have questions, stay in the Zoom and ask. If you don't, I think that's it for today. Any questions about MIT App Inventor? Okay, if not, that's it for today. All the best in your upcoming project. Thank you for attending.